Hello, Western world. Hello, America. Hello, everybody out there with electricity. I again hope that I'm coming in loud and clear. And what we're going to discuss today is Navy A schools. We're going to discuss Navy A schools, and I haven't really seen too many videos out there that really discuss them. You might see a couple of videos of people marching, perhaps, or something very simple like that. But no one's really gone into great detail as to what you can expect from any Navy A schools. And from what I've seen, there's not really anything out there. And if you do see anything, it is going to be very brief, maybe about something kind of obscure, like some of the submariner rates. But overall, I haven't really seen anything that really gets into the nitty-gritty of Navy A schools. So basically what you need to know is that after you complete Navy boot camp, you are not going to go home for leave like the Marine Corps does. After you get done with Navy A school, because it's only approximately 2 months and some change, maybe 3, depending on your luck, you don't go home. You don't go home. Marines, after boot camp, they get to go home because of, well, historical reasons. Sometimes, I mean, they went straight to a Higgins landing craft right out of boot camp, right out of high school, and then died on a Pacific island, okay? It's not that that's not possible for sailors or airmen or soldiers. It's just kind of tradition with the Marine Corps. So then after Marines would go home from boot camp, they would then go to MCT Marine Combat Training and then onto their A schools, because they don't get SOI, School of Infantry, like actual infantrymen. But sailors, we go directly to our A schools. We don't go home at all for anything. And that's some photos there of NAS Pensacola. And NAS Pensacola houses the majority of all the Navy aviation rates. All of them with the exception of AZ, I believe, which is held with the rest of all the other clerical rates. All go to another place in another state somewhere in the south. But NAS Pensacola is a huge base. There is so much to do on there. You really don't have to leave base in your off time to have something to do. The NWR is kind of a hokey kind of organization that might kind of bore you a little bit here and there, but they do have some resources and availabilities that you're going to be very thankful that you have. The MWR is some good entertainment on base, and sometimes they schedule things that you can go out and do. And this is really covering specifically NAS Pensacola. NAS Pensacola used to formerly be the command NATTC, NACCS. Well, NATTC used to be in Millington, Tennessee. Is where it used to be. It used to be in Millington, Tennessee, and then it up and moved to Pensacola, which really worked out for a lot of people. People said it was a lot better when the A school moved to Pensacola, but it was said it was a lot more fun to be had in Millington, Tennessee, because they used to rent like four-wheelers and stuff like that to students in their off time to spend their money and have fun safely on base or in the nearby area. NAS Pensacola, unfortunately, directly outside of the base is kind of a bit of a slum, believe it or not. Unfortunately, outside of most military bases, it's usually the worst areas you'll ever see. And I have no idea why this really is, or at least I'm not going to digress and really get into that. Right outside of NAS Pensacola, you have Navy Boulevard. You have Navy Boulevard, and up and down there, you are going to find a host of hotels and fast food. A lot of that fast food, believe it or not, rolls right in through the front gate of NAS Pensacola. Certain Chinese food places, pizza places, Hungry Howie's, you name it, they get special permission to kind of come and go through the front gate, which has some of the more lax procedures that I've seen in my experience. And a lot of people tend to kind of come and go, but they still do, of course, obviously, keep track of you in their surveillance state. I mean, the whole place is covered by cameras. So, NAS Pensacola is going to be a lot of fun for anybody who has a Navy aviation rate that includes AT, AE, AS, AM, AD, AO, AC, and that also includes all of the aircrew rates. All of the aircrew rates, such as AWF, AWV, AWS, all of those rates also do to exist in NAS Pensacola, just underneath a different command, because NATTC, where the majority of your mechanical rates are, is basically just a technical training command, as to where NACCS, where you will learn aircrew skills and whatnot, including rescue swimmer school, is basically a school of athleticism, and it's also a hazardous training environment. It's a hazardous training environment, and if any of you do have to go to NACCS, Naval Aircrew Candidacy School, which is what we're going to cover first here, if any of you do have to go to NACCS, basically what's going to happen to you is that they consider it as a elite forces schoolhouse. Everyone kind of fancies themselves to be something special, but Aircrew does fancy themselves to be a elite forces schoolhouse. It is part of the Navy Challenge program, and I'm not too sure if that is explicitly in regards to the rescue swimmer schoolhouse and aspect of the training pipeline, or if that also has anything to do with regular air crewmen. Not 100% sure on that. But let's start with NACCS, because that's what I was slated for originally, so we'll just start at the beginning. The Aircrew program is a prolonged program that trains up basically all of its trained sailors coming right out of boot camp to become very disciplined, very hardened air warriors, air sea warriors. And what you can expect is that as soon as you get out of boot camp, if you didn't have, let's say, a 2-year degree or anything like that, anything that's going to accelerate your pay grade, as soon as you get to Aircrew Candidacy School, they are going to accelerate you to E2, right away from E1. And the reason why is because nobody would go through the PT that they're going to make you go through for E1 pay. Okay, nobody would do it. So they instantly advance you to E2. Marines, I couldn't tell you. Maybe they do the same, maybe they don't. I don't know. I didn't follow that closely along. Once you get accelerated to E2, which is pretty much instantaneously, as soon as you show up to that schoolhouse and check in, you are going to learn about the NMT, Naval Military Trainer window, which is on the quarterdeck. For those of you who don't know, the quarterdeck is basically where all things of importance transpire in the United States Navy, mostly. And there, at the quarterdeck, will be the NMT window. And you're going to have to go up to that NMT window, and you're going to have to slap on it 3 times where the handprint is supposed to be, stand at attention, report in, and get your documentation and all of your paperwork, and basically let them know that you're there and alive. Once that transpires and takes place, hopefully if you're lucky, like myself, I arrived on a Saturday night, I want to say. I arrived on a Saturday night, and I woke up the next day and it was Sunday, and I was very fortunate. It was the first day I had off in almost 90 days. And me and a female sailor whom I graduated boot camp with, whom will remain nameless, was slated to go through the training pipeline with me. I don't think she had a whole lot of water experience or really knew what she was getting herself into, because in boot camp I often tried to explain to her, along with some of the other people that were slated for this schoolhouse, men mostly, what it was that she was getting herself into. She really didn't know. So we took that opportunity and we got to go to the exchange. After, obviously once we checked in, we got handed one of these buttes right here, okay? Which I bet you a lot of you people out there, if you're watching this and you did go through this pipeline, you people probably still don't have any of this. A lot of people, when they get out, they drag their boots behind their truck as a celebration for getting out. I still have every single uniform item in pristine condition. Well, as pristine as I can keep it. Once you get that sucker right there that I just showed you, it's going to tell you everything you need to buy from the exchange having to do with uniform items. You're going to need to buy a lot of extra stuff that wasn't exactly given to you in boot camp, and some of those things is just going to be for the acceleration from E1 to E2. You got to sign on. I mean, you got to sew on patches now and all this stuff, and get other collar devices showing that you're E2. So you're going to spend a lot of that money that you earned in boot camp at your A school for NACCS. Just trying to get your uniform up to par when it comes to embellishments and stuff like that, collar devices, sleeve devices, whatever have you. And then the very first Monday, the very first day of business, whatever day it is that you get there and they start putting you through your paces, you can expect to go through inspection before indoctrination. You're going to have to go out there in this uniform, this kind of peanut butter colored uniform. We call those the NSUs, Naval Service Uniform. And no matter how good you look, no matter how pressed you are, clean shaven, whatever, they're going to find something wrong with you. They're going to hold it against you later, most likely, in PT or something. Then once you go through that, you're going to go through indoc. That can last about a week. You're going to go through all kinds of, basically what's your banking information through Navy Federal or USAA or your hometown bank that you should have gone through in boot camp. I'm sorry if I didn't exactly cover that beautifully in boot camp, but yes, you will get the opportunity to get with a bank or a financial service. I'll make an entirely different video about financial services and the amazing services that can be given to you financially in the United States military and Navy. So let's start going through your indoc for NACCS, Naval Aircrew Candidacy School. What you can expect is PT as soon as you get there. PT as soon as you get there. Yeah, that's going to be some classroom time. Yeah, you're going to sign some papers. Yeah, you're going to go through all this nonsense when it comes to paperwork. It's just going to be retarded. Then after that, you're going to immediately go to your analysis. And again, drink lots of water, stay hydrated, do what you have to do so you can urinate on command, so you're not the one guy standing there while, droves of other people come and go. After your analysis, again, you're going to basically go right into PT. You're going to go into what's known as backlog, and a lot of the documentation that you can get stating what you can expect to go through for qualifications and all that nonsense. All of the timelines, just go ahead and blow that out of the water. Whatever timelines they give you, the pipeline training schedule, forget about it. There's going to be backlog, and there's reasons for it. Mostly because they try to break you in backlog. Okay, I know that might be hard to believe, but believe it, they try to break you in backlog to see if you're going to be a weak mother lover, or if you're somebody who doesn't exactly get broken easily. And I know that sounds weird because, most people in the civilian world are like, broken? What the heck do you mean? You mean you hurt your wrist, hurt your elbow, your ankle, whatever? Yeah, when you get hurt, they call it broken. And if you do break easily, you're going to find out in backlog for an Elite Forces training schoolhouse. Another thing in my personal experience for NACCS was that what I noticed is that you're going to get mixed in with a lot of other PT studs from a lot of other rates that didn't make it. A lot of other guys that didn't make it through EOD, SWIC, Navy SEAL School, all that stuff, you know, buds, pre-buds. A lot of guys that go through that don't make it, they're going to get trickled down through the pipeline to other schoolhouses that they'll easily go through with no problem. And rescue swimmer school and being an air crewman, it really isn't anything compared to being EOD and SWIC and Navy SEAL and Navy diver. As a matter of fact, it exactly goes. It goes rescue swimmer, Navy diver, EOD, SWIC, Navy SEAL. Okay, that's exactly how it goes. And I went for the very bottom of that tier. And the reason why I did that is because I wear contact lenses. Okay, I wear glasses, and unless you get the corrective procedure before you go in, you can't sign on to be a Navy SEAL to go to buds and all that. Otherwise, I would have been part of a buds class. My knee probably would have given up right then and there. No, I don't know. There's no telling. So you're going to come across a lot of other guys that are going to come from these other A schools that they washed out of, that they DOR'd out of, dropped out on request. And rescue swimmer school and air crew in general, even though some people don't consider air crew to be an elite forces schoolhouse or whatever, it is a DOR schoolhouse. You cannot be forced, you can't be made to go through this training because it is a hazardous training environment. Okay, people aspirate water and just never get revived. Okay, believe it. It's not an ordinary job for all you people out there who think you just collect a check and move on with your life. I'd have been through more water trials than all your friends have been through court trials. So, you're going to come across some guys that are going to make you look like a bitch. Okay, plain and simple and period. I don't care how much of a PT stud you were in your delayed entry program, in boot camp, whatever have you, okay? Unless you were part of an 800 division, and even then, you're always going to come across somebody better. And I saw guys qualifying for the swim quals in NAS Pensacola at NACCS that were like they were like dolphins in the water, and they were like half man, half centaur or something like that, half horse on land, you know. And some of these guys, they were just as young as could be, and looked like they probably even did some steroids too. Okay, and hey, just call it how I see it. You got a problem with it, put it in the comments below. As a matter of fact, here's some transparency for you, okay? One of the guys who I did meet, who came back from pre-buds and buds, made it into Hell Week? I forget, it's been a couple years. This guy, one of his NMTs over at buds had said to him and, you know, all the other people in the class, you know, buds class, whatever, listen, if you guys... listen, don't do steroids. Don't do steroids. But if you're going to do steroids, come to me because I've done them all. Okay, come to me because I've done them all. And that's literally what, you know, some of the instructors said to some of the kids in buds, because everybody's looking for that little bit of something extra to make you go that little bit farther. All right. And a lot of people get this misconception about steroids that it's there just to make you swole and, you know, make your muscles all puffy. The reality is a lot of steroids, either given what they do, can do some very simple things, just having to do with extra red blood cell production, which can carry more hemoglobin, oxygen, and carbon dioxide to and away from and through muscles and cells, and that right there can be the edge that you need. But they'll tell you, listen, don't do this stuff, okay? Because, you know, here's another C story for you. They had said, you know, listen, there was some girl going back some while ago, and this was rescue swimmer school, that, you know, we tell everybody, listen, don't do any kind of supplements, don't do steroids, don't do anything, because we train you so hard here, it could complicate your microbiology, it could do something to you that could ultimately hurt your metabolism and put you at risk and potentially injure you or worse. And allegedly this girl was in the last part of her aircrew training to be a rescue swimmer, and basically what had happened was her heart popped during the last evolution, during the last swim qual, when it was just a distance swim in a certain amount of time. Yeah, apparently her heart popped and she died in the pool, but her body continued to wade along to the end of the final repetition or lap, and her body made it. Her body qualified, but she legitimately, as a living person, did not make it through rescue swimmer school, which comes after Aircrew candidacy school. Alright, and some of the things that you're gonna get to do as a air crewman is you're gonna basically be like a load master in some scenarios, most scenarios. If you're one of the people that's lower on the totem pole, or basically they just kind of hand out what you get to do after you pass NACCS. Once you pass NACCS, which is a glorious thing, which unfortunately I did not make that evolution, and that stays for you for the rest of your career and life. Once you make it through your graduation, they're going to basically tell you, okay, well, this is how many slots we have for this, is how many slots we have for that, and that's going to determine your career. Okay, that's it. You're not even going to get to choose. You basically have a large opportunity to become a load master, basically, that's going to know and do everything that goes on in the back of a P3 Orion or a P7 Pegasus or whatever. You're going to be that guy who calculates all the weights and the loads and all that stuff, which is a big deal. And or you also get to be a crew chief. A crew chief. I don't think that's the same thing as a load master. I think they're two different things. I'm pretty sure. The crew chief is, again, like the senior enlisted individual aboard the vehicle, the aircraft, which means you're in charge of all the enlisted, which might be 2 people below you and then 2 officers flying an aircraft, whatever have you. And you get a lot of say. You get a lot of say as a crew chief. You can wave off. Sorry, this is bothering my little hair over here. You can wave off a landing on the back of a small boy or an amphib or something, because as far as I was told by one of the staff sergeants, it's a pilot's job basically to kill you, because they're a bunch of hotshot morons. Imagine that, officers being a bunch of hotshot morons. Officers do things wrong? Officers are fallible? So, again, your training pipelines, you can just blow that right out of the water. When you show up to aircrew school, oh, below my last, I'm sorry, I'm getting misplaced here. Okay, so yeah, you can be a crew chief, you can be a load master. You can also be somebody who is responsible for all of the electronic countermeasures that is basically there to deploy flares, to not inhibit, but to intercept shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles or otherwise. Air-to-air missiles, whatever have you. And you will also operate the electronic jamming rod at the front of the aircraft, or whatever it is, that basically is nothing but a huge EM field generator that can burn out everything that isn't electrically shielded for miles and miles and miles. I mean, you can deaden the entire east or west coast of North America with one of these aircraft, and the amount of energy it can put out if it chooses to turn on its electronic countermeasures to keep a air-to-air missile from hitting it. A lot of these aircraft aren't typically too dexterous, but mostly have fighter aircraft accompanying them and escorting them, because you'd be in the big brain bug plane and then the fighters will be along next to you. So there's that. There's rescue swimmer. And again, doing some, and again, there's even another spot I do believe, I don't know what this is, it might be part of another one, AWF, AWV, AWS, whatever, where you even can operate UAVs as a air crewman. Being air crew is very high speed, low drag. If you have the opportunity to go for it, but it is, again, very athletic. Okay, you're not going to be a typical wrench turner of any kind. And another good thing about being part of an air crew is that you don't stay in watches. You don't stand watches anymore as being part of an air crew. You won't have to be involved in all that. You have to have a certain amount of sleep. You have to be met up in order to be, flight worthy. You can't be grounded. Okay, you can't be grounded. And again, that is to another thing. The first thing you can expect once you start getting there, and now we're getting to the pipeline here. Now we're actually going where we're going. You just got all the jobs. You got what you can expect when you get there. Now we're going to the pipeline training. When you get there, and you get handed this lovely little baby right here, you're going to start going through the training pipeline, and it's not going to be no 4 weeks of land and water survival training. It's going to be like 6 months. I've seen some people in backlog in NACCS for 9 months. 9 months of a 6-year contract. Okay, that's a lot of time to be spending in an A school, sitting on your thumb, PTing every day, getting swole. I don't know why they do it, to break others, to prepare some, I don't know, but there's a method to the madness, and they just do what they do. So you're going to be in backlog for forever. You're going to be in backlog for forever, that's all you need to know. And beyond that, there's going to be lots of watches to stand that are going to interrupt your sleep in the middle of the night. Sorry, Buttercup, it's just the way it is. You're going to have to get used to it for your service. It's going to accelerate your aging process and the burning of your brain, for one, but no, your stem cells. The more harm and danger you go through, the more times your cells have to reproduce due to stress or hair loss or whatever, the more stem cells you're going to get burned through, which means it's going to shorten your lifespan. So what you can expect with some of this PT is a lot of swimming. And just to get into the program is some very basic stuff. Be able to run 1.5 miles in 12 minutes. Be able to do 42 push-ups in 2 minutes, 50 sit-ups in 2 minutes, and do a proper, Navy set of pull-ups, 12 pull-ups. Be able to swim 400 meters in 11 minutes using the side stroke, breaststroke, or the American crawl. I forgot about that one, the American crawl. Applicants must also understand that rescue swimmers may be required to risk their lives during a rescue, over land, or at sea. Yeah, this is the real military jobs, not you're a cook or something. Hey, nothing against the cooks, we need them. Every job is vital. But this is, you might die. You might really die. But what you can really expect out of the training there, when it comes to the training pipeline and it comes to the PT, which is what you really ought to know, is that when you get there, you're going to be phase 1 for a while. They're going to kind of put you through hell a little bit on the first floor of the building, which is this building right here. I know you can't really see it, doesn't make a lot of sense. Right here's the Aircrew Wings of Gold. The Aircrew Wings of Gold, okay? And then they are, again, right there painted on the sidewalk, and it will always be freshly painted by a talented, artistic, aspiring air crewman. And in your phase 1 nonsense, you're going to get up earlier than everybody else, right, to see if you're worth your salt, to see if you can put up with it. And there's really nothing to put up with, okay? I mean, if you join the military, just don't complain. Just shut up and take it. So, you're looking more than anyone else when you get to be phase 1. They're just going to muster you more times than they would anyone else to see if you're going to slip up right out of boot camp, see if you're going to slip up. You're going to be 3 people to a room. So get ready for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let me tell you what. One of the guys that I was bunked up with in a room with was a buddy of mine from boot camp from another division, same ship. That we were on ship staff together. He was real cool. Prematurely bald guy, kind of weird. He was like younger than me by many years, but he was already completely bald. Tall guy too. I don't even know what that says about your health. Anyways, so this guy, we were cool. He ended up showing up to my barracks room like 2 days after I got there, And there was somebody else that was already racked there who was a complete and total basket case. He was a complete and total basket case. He tried going to buds, and he went through pre-buds and all this stuff. But something happened, and he DOR'd. He dropped out a request of Navy SEAL School, and we'll just say his name sounded a lot like Sayonara. People called him Sayonara, but his name was really with a lot more T's. And he was an incredible athlete. He could have been an Olympic runner. I'm not even joking. But it really messed him up that he DOR'd, and that he got trickled down to an aircrew school, and he didn't want nothing to do with it. And he looked like a very statuesque kind of Sylvester Stallone, Italian Stallion kind of guy. And he was the first person I ever seen go AWOL. He was the first person I ever seen go UA. Oh, man. And when he did, me and my other homeboy from boot camp, we weren't allowed to go in our own barracks room. We were allowed to sit down in the gee dunk and just kind of hang out while they were going through all this stuff to see if he was on drugs or whatever. But he just wanted out of the Navy real bad. He said, if I can't be a Navy SEAL, let me out. And people don't really understand the flop side of failing out of a pipeline or something like that. Or that, once you're in there, I mean, you are property, okay? I got news for you. All you people out there that are watching this going, oh, wow, this is so informative and this is so great. I'm going to tell you things you're not going to hear from anywhere else. And a lot of them really aren't that great. Listen, I got something to say, and you ain't going to like it, especially if you represent in our current military, okay? Because a lot of it's a fallacy. And, it's life. I guess you better know that before you sign on. I mean, I did more or less, but, I mean, you don't understand the scope until you go through it. And, yes, that other sailor, he went UA. He went unauthorized absentee. He just disappeared for like a day and a night. And finally, me and my other shipmate were allowed back in our barracks room. And he showed back up too, and he finally got his discharge. He got his general under honorable, and I think he got his GI Bill. I don't know. They let him go. He got out of there, and that's good for him. But he was a basket case. I mean, he came and went and had behavior like I can't even tell you. Right. Okay, so after all that, you're going to get, your first floor rack and room and everything. You're not going to be allowed any electronics of any nature. Okay, you're only going to be allowed, like, your cell phone and a radio alarm clock in Phase 1. Phase 1 Liberty is kind of what they call it. And while you are there, you're not going to be allowed a whole much until you make it to Phase 2. And in order to get to Phase 2, you have to jump through a lot of hoops. Alright? But, the information I have access to. Alright, so Phase 1, you're only allowed a cell phone, an alarm, radio clock, and that's it. They don't even want you to have a pair of electric buzzers for your chest in Aircrew Candidacy School, Phase 1 Liberty. Again, you have to do a lot of stuff to get up to Phase 2. You're going to have to go through a lot of extra musters. You're going to have to go through indoctrination. And you're going to have to go through a lot of room inspections. I'm sorry, guys. You have to go through a lot of room inspections, and you have to stand a lot of personnel inspections. And they're going to give you the opportunity at certain increments to have these room inspections, which sometimes may be without any preamble at all. They're just going to kick your door in. And then at other times, it's going to be a preset scheduled time where you can have your room inspected to become Phase 2, or you have to go stand inspection to get your uniform looked at. Every uniform, whites, blues, NSUs, you name it, how well you can shine your shoes, all this nonsense. And that is going to determine whether or not you are going to be able to become Phase 2 Liberty. And if you don't become Phase 2 Liberty within a certain amount of time, either because, no one's explained the process to you, you haven't gotten it explained to yourself, you haven't gone through the motions, you'll get what's known as a counseling chit. Basically saying that the NMT came to you and said, hey, listen, you're dragging ass, you better hurry up, recruit, or sailor, we just call each other recruit, it's a boot camp thing, or you're gonna really end up regretting it. So yeah, you better advance to phase 2 in time, or you're gonna get a counseling chit and it's not gonna be good. Then you get enough counseling chits, they will trite you from the program, or they'll do something to you, send you to DRB, Disciplinary Review Board, ERB, Evaluation Review Board, or they'll just send you to Captain's Mast, which is just, it's like going to court. Oh, man. I'm sorry, guys, just give me one moment. I'm jogging the memory here. And while you're in Aircrew candidacy school, no matter what phase of liberty you're in, there will be no fat pills allowed in your barracks rooms, i.e. bags of chips, Snicker snack food, bottles of soda, all that stuff, not allowed in Aircrew candidacy school in the barracks, okay? You will eat chow hall. You will eat chow in the chow hall at predetermined times. And beyond that, if you want a little Snicker snack, you want a sandwich, you want a microwave burrito, you can obtain that from the Gidunk in the first floor area of the Aircrew Candidacy School barracks. But you will eat it down in the common area in front of and or with everyone else. I don't care if you have 3 leftover Skittles in your bag, you're not taking that to your room, okay? For multiple reasons. And mostly, it's to keep you freaking skinny, okay? So many people who join the military, Navy, Marine Corps, Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, which is actually Department of Homeland Security now. It's not actually Department of the Military, the Coasties. Too many people who are getting in are really overweight. Really, really, really overweight. And it's not exactly anybody's fault in particular. A lot of the food that's been handed down by the last generation's parental units is horrible. So many people are accustomed to fast food. Horrible. And basically, everyone just basically isn't drinking enough water, urinating enough, defecating enough, getting enough fiber, getting enough non-soluble and soluble fiber, urinating enough, defecating enough. If you're not doing enough of this, you're going to get fat, basically. You're going to get fat. And again, this is kind of a little early in my series of episodes. A lot of people, when they're trying to make weight in the military, often will take diuretics to slim down a couple of pounds just before they get roped and choked. You'll find out what that means. To make weight and all this stuff for their PRTs and all that. A lot of people can run and swim and do all this stuff and push-ups and pull-ups, no problem. It's making weight and body measurements everyone has a problem with, because again, this is a little early. No, maybe this isn't a little early. Again, when people get out of boot camp and they start going to A school and they get out to the fleet or whatever else have you, it's not that you might become lax on PT, it's that you have more money and resources than you probably ever had in your life, and you're going to eat really rich. You're going to try to eat really rich, and I would not suggest it. I would not suggest it. Eat that galley food, save your money. Don't be eating Panda Express and Subway and Sorrento's Pizza or whatever it is every single day when you get off duty at the exchange. It is going to fatten you up, and it is going to be horrible. Most people that get out of boot camp are about perfect body weight with 6 or 8 pack abs, and as soon as they get to their A schools, within about a week's worth of chow, you're already back to your pre-boot camp dimensions typically. And in the Navy, they're a little lax in normal rates where you're just turning wrenches or taking blood or pushing papers. They're pretty lax about the physical body compositions, but the Marine Corps, no, you better stay around. I think the max is 17% for the males and like something even lower for the something slightly higher for the females. Marine Corps, you got to be real lean, and it don't matter what your job is, and that's good. That's real good. That's why I joined the Navy, because the Navy and the Marine Corps kind of keep each other on their toes. The Navy kind of used to be a little bit more on their toes. And on the flop side, the Marine Corps is fucking sadistic. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Alright, listen, before I went to the military period, there were two words that I had no idea what they meant. Alright, one was naive, okay, and the other was sadism. Alright, I had no idea what being naive even meant before I went to the military. Alright, and then the other term that I learned really well was the term sadism. And that's going to be Best of Stories episode. So, again, moving along. In Aircrew Candidacy School, for this particular kind of a pre-A school, basically, it's like a pre-A school. It's a school of athleticism before you get real training. You're going to PT every day. 6 o'clock in the morning, you're going to basically wake up. 7 o'clock, you are going to be on the tow line out front in formation. There you go. That's at night, though. That's another story. You're going to be out there on the tow line in formation. All the good up people, as you can see, about 350 to 400 good, capable, physical body people, sailors and Marines. And then you're going to have your broken people off to one side that are, you know, broke dick, you know, I hurt my knee, I hurt my wrist, I hurt my yeah, anyways. So those people are going to be off to one side, and there is a in-barracks corpsman that is there all day long, because, again, you're doing very physical stuff. So there's a SAR corpsman on hand all times, a search and rescue corpsman. And HM1, as you will call him, will basically be in charge of the sick and broken people. And the sick and broken people, they don't do much. They don't do much. You basically do what you do until you get better again, go to medical. Once you're better again, you have to rejoin the group, to like the 400 people that are typically PTing every day. They send you to this old guy who looks like a old brown leather couch that sat out in the sun for too long. And he's older than the hills, and he will PT you to death. He's older than the hills, and he will PT you to death. And there's another guy who's in charge of swim qual, that if you need remediated swim training, Mr. M, we'll just call him. The other guy's name, the old brown on the couch, I can't remember his name, and probably for good reason. I think that they even take turns between being the remediated swim coach and being the remediated PT coach in Aircrew Candidacy School. For when you get sick or broken, you have to bounce back. Basically, the old guy will put you through your paces for like a week before you get to rejoin the group, and if you don't do what you're supposed to within a certain amount of time, you're not going to make it, and it's going to be really bad. It's going to be really bad. And then the swim qual, the remediated swim qual, that's actually really good. If you're not a scaredy cat of the water, you're going to learn more than most sailors do in the Navy period about swimming. But I understand that those two guys used to switch positions, and that really sadistic old guy that used to like to run people nearly to death, sometimes he'd be in charge of the remediated swim class, and he kind of gave less instruction and more work, and that didn't work out so well for some people. But this old guy, one time I got the flu, and I was old, you know, I was like 26, 27 going through this, and they were just kind of like, Jesus, you know, how are you even doing what you're doing? They classed me up after about 6 months, but one time when I got the flu, and I got real sick, and I was med down for like a day or two, they just let me rejoin the remediated PT class on a Friday, and said, hey, listen, if you can do, you know, like your PRT run and, you know, all this nonsense, we'll just, you know, put you right back with everybody else just like that, and not put you through that week of extra hard PT. And that's what I did. I just came right back from having a flu and a cold and all this nonsense, and I knocked it right out. Knocked it right out, no problem. And rejoined everybody else. Got right back to normal PT. It was a really good thing. And the PT was fun. Again, you wake up real early, you take muster. Those who are sick go to sick call, whatever have you. Those who are broken go down to medical when you're told. But you'll go to chow. Okay, if you're in good condition, you'll go to chow. And then once you go to chow, You will then come back and kind of get ready a little bit more. You'll be in your PT gear, and after that, you're going to go do your morning PT, which might be group sports even if you're really lucky. You might go play football against your will, or tackle frisbee or whatever the heck they're going to make you do. Or do, you know, like something fun, you know, like rotate between like volleyball and basketball and football, and they'll make you rotate so that way it's, you know, muscle confusion and brain confusion and strategy confusion, and they'll make you do that if you're really lucky. If you're not lucky, it's just gonna be misery. It's gonna be running 6 or 8 miles, whatever the command maximum is, first thing in the morning, and they're gonna take you down to the beach, you know, roll you around in the sand, make you do your push-ups and sit-ups in the sand, and then go run some more. Mind you, while you're carrying, you know, your canteen the whole time, which isn't, you know, no big deal. It's just kind of sloshing around. And you're gonna keep on stenciling your same numbers and sweating it off every day in these damn canteens. And that goes for every Elite Forces program. Every Elite Force program, you have some stupid canteen that you're going to have to stencil non-stop. That's just going to get rubbed off. You'll get marks for it if you do bad. So they're just going to PT the heck fire out of you first thing in the morning before chow. You're going to do lots of running, lots of sit-ups, lots of push-ups, you know, group stuff, whatever. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. After that, it's chow time. Chow time, don't eat too heavy. Don't make the middle of your day chow real heavy. Don't make your biggest meal middle of the day, because you're going to regret that. Because after that, there's no telling what they're going to do with you. Sometimes they're going to bring you down to the gym, which is not air-conditioned and barely even air-circulated. And it's huge. It's its own private gym. The Aircrew people have their own private gym. It has its own seal and insignia, the wings of gold, there in the middle of the floor. And sometimes you will be voluntold to, you know, play volleyball or, you know, do bench press or rows or, you know, whatever have you. They'll make you, you know, go through and do it like it's boot camp. Or you'll have a free-for-all, and you can just kind of do whatever, you know, you feel like you want to do. You want to work on the chest some and the arms and the shoulders. They'll just let you do it. You know, just completely your own thing. Just get swole. Have your fun and get strong before you get classed up. And then sometimes, if you're really unlucky after chow time, they'll take you to the pool. They'll put you in full like flight gear, basically, and they'll make you swim laps. Make you swim fast, make you swim in circles, make you do strokes, whatever. And I've seen a lot of people people vomit in the pool. You're using able to go aspirate water. As a matter of fact, when I was in Aircrew Candidacy School, there was 2 ensigns that didn't make it out of the combat swimming pool. Some people, when they aspirate water, they never come back. That's it. If you ever aspirate water and you get a lung full, more than like a couple tablespoons, and you go unconscious and all that, some people get revived, other people don't. Period. And when you first come from boot camp, during, you know, your initial you know, just regular training, your backlog, you're going to go through some swim quals, and you're going to go through some PT quals to make sure that, you know, boot camp didn't pass a substandard product, a substandard sailor into the fleet. And what's going to happen is if you don't swim real well, they're going to put you through remediated swim, which is what I did before I went to the military. I basically could get across a pool and do it in class and style, and make it look good, but the reality was, you know, I didn't know how to swim, and a lot of you people out there probably don't. So then I got put into the remediated swim class, and that lasted a good number of weeks. I forget how long, 3 weeks almost, maybe a month, and that was it. After that, I was a great swimmer. Kind of hurt my shoulder a little bit, though, all the strokes non-stop all day, every day. But the Aircrew Candidacy swimming pool is really nice. It's heated. You'll probably meet some top-notch instructors. And before you go, I encourage you to look online, do whatever you can do, because before I went, it didn't exist. I couldn't, the internet wasn't what it is today back then. I couldn't, find information on how to learn swim quals. If I were you, I would learn a lot about the side stroke, the American crawl, the breaststroke, and the backstroke. I would learn all about your strokes and basically how to tread water as best as you can before you go to Aircrew candidacy school or any elite forces school in the United States military. Things like Army Ranger and stuff, from what I understand, is really a land-based type of MOS. You're not going to really encounter a lot of water, and that's not so for the United States Navy and Marine Corps. If there is an elite forces schoolhouse that you're going to go to in the Navy and Marine Corps, trust me, it will be water-based. Okay, water eliminates everybody. There are plenty of hot-shot officers and senior enlisted that can't swim as good as some E3 air crewmen people or E4 rescue swimmers. Okay, so we have been through what you can expect when you get there when it comes to, the real deal, working out, uniforms, inspections. We've been through the real deal, basically. Now, when you actually class up, I'll try not to pell-mell this too badly. Should you fail an evolution, a water evolution, you'll go through a PRB, which is a performance review board, to basically kind of grill you about, are you trying hard enough? Are you scared of the water? Do you need to go to a psychologist for water training, which, believe it or not, does exist? You're going to get put through, it just goes on and on and on. On and on and on. Oh, another thing about Phase 1, or Phase 1, yeah. Phase 1, you're not allowed to smoke cigarettes when you're in NACCS, and I don't think you should be allowed to smoke cigarettes at all while you're in an NACCS period. I'm not a cigarette smoker, never have been. That shit is nasty. Nasty. Alright, and in the military, in the Navy and Marine Corps, they have a place called the Smoke Pit. The Smoke Pit? That's where you go fucking smoke. Oh, pardon my language. And it's a nasty, nasty place. Usually it's always like to either side of the front door to all barracks and buildings, and it's always within nose shot, and it's, oh god, it's so freaking horrible. And man, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Body piercings, tattooing, telephone calls. Not like, calling home from your cell phone, but other things. But the possession of weapons. All weapons will be checked in at NAS Pensacola Armory. Because, basically you have certain immutable rights that you can't... They didn't force you to sign away when you join boot camp, because you do sign away a lot of rights when you go to the military, but one of them that you don't is the Second Amendment, even though you do sign away your First Amendment rights. Believe that. Oh yeah, you do. Which is why I'm up here right now. After having sacrificed as many rights as I have, and knowing that there are people in there right now who I served with who are some serious bad people who still are missing their rights. They've been in 16 years and they don't have the freedom of speech. So after the couple years I did, the few years I did, I'm using that freedom right now. And there's just so much to know, so much to go through. And if you'll humor me, I'll just kind of walk you through some of the basic stuff that you're going to have to know to even become Phase 2 Liberty. To become Phase 2 Liberty. Wow. Okay, to become Phase 2 Liberty, You got to jump through a lot of hoops. You got to pass a lot of inspections. You got to learn a lot of lessons. I mean, they just layer it on. I mean, phase 1 lessons. Phase 1's lessons right here. You know, I don't want to give away too much, but I mean, decision making, operational stress control, and stress management. Listen, you're not underneath stress. You're never underneath stress. No matter what's going on, even if you're being shot at, you're perfectly fine. Okay, you're perfectly fine. Don't complain. There's no such thing as stress in the military. Planning and time management. Oh, God. A lot of things are going to get neglected. Anger management, deployability, healthy lifestyles, nutrition, heritage, honor and courtesies, heritage, uniforms, heritage, Navy history, career education, core values, shipboard watch organization, living ashore. Listen, you're going to go through so much stuff. You're going to go through so much stuff when it comes to training and all this that it's never going to slow down all the way up until the day that you get out. And even when you do get out, it's going to seem like there is just something missing from your life. You're never going to get used to not being in class, not being in school, not learning and learning and learning and learning. And you are going to learn so much. You're going to have sea bag inspections. I mean, there is just no end to it. And again, to become Phase 2 Liberty, you're going to have to know a bunch of stuff that you're going to have to be able to fill in the blank and actually, you know, perform a written examination. And moreover, you're going to have to be able to verbally repeat without any problems not only your general orders and the Sailor's Creed, but the Aircrewman's Creed. Okay? And I won't drag you through the Sailor's Creed and all the general orders. Well, I lied. I will. And I'll try and make it as quick as possible just to give you an idea of what it is that you really have to have in mind in order to get to Phase 2 Liberty, if not make it through the Navy in general, okay? But when it comes to Aircrew Candidacy School, alright, you have got to know your general orders, which you have to know in boot camp. Okay, you have to know this in boot camp. And then what gets added on to Aircrew Candidacy School is the Aircrewman's Creed. Well, your 11 general order is to take charge of this post and all government property in view. 2, to walk my post in a military manner, keeping always on the alert and observing everything that takes place within sight or hearing. 3, to report all violations of orders I'm instructed to enforce. 4, to repeat all calls from posts more distant from the guardhouse than my own. 5, to quit my post only when properly relieved. 6, to receive, obey, and pass on to the sentry who relieves me all orders from the commanding officer, command duty officer, officers, and petty officers of the watch only. 7, to speak only when spoken to. Oh, belay my last. Oh my God. To talk to no one except in the line of duty. You understand what I was getting at. Ooh, made myself look horrible. 8, to give the alarm in case of fire disorder. 9, to call the officer of the deck in any case not covered by instruction. 10, to salute all officers in all colors and standards not cased. 11, to be especially watchful at night and during the time of challenging. To challenge all persons on or near my post and to allow no one to pass without proper authority. The time of challenging was the first hour that the sun's coming up and the last hour that the sun's going down. That's when the eyes are adjusting to the slanting light, and that's when most military-themed assaults take place. Okay, that's the general orders. Alright, we haven't even gotten to the Sailor's Creed, alright, and I'm just going through this so you have the idea of what you can expect. Alright, the Sailor's Creed. I am a United States sailor. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and obey the orders of those appointed over me. I represent the fighting spirit of the Navy and those who have gone before me to defend freedom and democracy around the world. I proudly serve my country's Navy combat team with honor, courage, and commitment. I am committed to excellence and the fair treatment of all. Hoo-yah! Alright, and you're going to repeat this stuff so often, so often, so often. You're going to remember this on your deathbed, okay? It's going to affect you forever. And then finally, lastly, you also have to know the Air Crewman's Creed to become Phase 2 Liberty at NACCS if you ever expect to get out with any kind of real Liberty hours. Or make it through the program period. The Air Crewman's Creed. This is so poetic. This is so beautiful. Another reason why I had wished I'd made it. I'm a United States Naval Air Crewman. My country has built me the finest aircraft known to man. They have entrusted me to use it to keep our country free. With my honor, courage, and commitment, my aircraft will be able to perform any task. I will always remember that I am part of an unbeatable team, the United States Naval Aircrew Team. Being an air crewman is not an easy job. When I am cold, hot, or tired, I will not fail my crew. When flying, I will be ever diligent and watchful to keep my crew safe. If we fly into battle, may the heavens watch over our crew and protect us from the enemy so that we may fly again. You can't beat that. Okay, you can't beat that. That is why America is #1. Alright? The reason why we repeat all of these creeds, the reason why we repeat all of these core values, the reason why we adhere so strongly to these ideologies, okay, as a military, as America, however you want to boil it down, is because when the money stops flowing, when the real problems hit the fan, what's really going to make people stick together as part of a team or part of a cohesive unit is ideologies, brainwashing, what you believe, okay? And a lot of people don't know this, but back when I was in, during the government shutdown back in 2012, just after that oil pipeline broke from the BP spill, what had happened was during the government shutdown, it had become informed to us that if you don't get paid for 90 days, believe it or not, contractually, you are not obligated to remain with the United States Navy. But a lot of people that sign on wouldn't walk. It would never happen. Listen, when I was in, like I said to everybody all the time, I love the Navy. I love it to no end. Oh my God, I love it so much. It's staggering. But if I got let go tomorrow, I would not shed a tear. I would not shed a tear because it's a tall glass of water. All right, it is a tall glass of water. Yeah, sure, you're not an infantry marine, but you know, the infantry marines of today are the infantry marines of, you know, Pele Lu and you know, WW2. Things kind of slip and vary with time, and when you are part of an air crew, it's very, very different than being another wrench turner or anything like that. It's very prestigious. It's one of the very real jobs in the United States Navy, where you're really going to have some stories to write home about, which unfortunately, you know, again, I ended up getting a head and neck injury. I ended up getting a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, which I am currently fighting with the VA now, and it's all there. It's all there in my documentation. That's why I got attrited from the program, was because I gave too much, not because I didn't give enough. And as a matter of fact, I almost became airman undesignated. Oh, here's a photo out of the back of my aircrew barracks, to another barracks building over there. Or is that just another office building? There is so many nondescript buildings and stuff like that on NAS Pensacola. It is its own city. Okay, you could drive for hours in circles on that place, and maybe never see the same thing twice. So again, once you get to Phase 2 Liberty, you're going to be allowed to go out. You're going to be allowed to do a lot more. You're going to be allowed to have more Liberty hours, go do bigger things. And that's all there is in Naval Aircrew Candidacy School. There's Phase 1 Liberty, there's Phase 2 Liberty, because you're so valuable you can't have Phase 3 Liberty. Phase 3 Liberty basically means you're allowed to go out in town overnight, and you can go spend the night in hotel rooms and stuff like that, or whatever else have you. But you don't get Phase 3 Liberty unless you're going to go be a... you don't get Phase 3 Liberty unless you are going to be a rescue swimmer. And if you're going to be a rescue swimmer, you get it just before you go to rescue swimmer school. You'll go from Phase 2 to Phase 3 as you graduate Aircrew Candidacy School. Which, mind you, guys, even though that I failed out of it because of a head injury and neck injury, that was something that I was born into. Okay, that not everybody's like that. It's like 1 in every 3,500 people have a immersion head trauma. That can't go deep sea diving, that doesn't like rapid pressure change, and my noodle is one of them. I don't do well with it. It's just circumstantial, and it's too bad. Maybe in the next reincarnation, I won't be such a sad, sappy sucker. But when you get a Phase 3 Liberty, and you get out of Aircrew Candidacy School because you graduated, you went through your Hell Week, you got classed up, you went through all of your Disney week rides, we call them. You went through the underwater helo egress dunk tank chamber, whatever, the low pressure chamber. Once you go through all that stuff and you graduate, which again, it's really not hard, okay? They're not asking an impossible amount of... Listen, there shouldn't be anybody out there, unless you were born effed up, that can't run, you know, 6 and 8 miles 5 days a week. They shouldn't be able to run 6 and 8 miles 5 days a week before lunch, and then go and swim really hard or whatever else afterwards, or go to the gym. They're not asking that much, really. It's really not that hard. And if you can go through all that, if you pass Aircrew Candidacy School, they're going to send you over to Rescue Swimmer School, if that's what you're slated to go do, if you ask for that, if you want that. And if you go over there, you're going to get Phase 3 Liberty instantly. You're going to get Phase 3 Liberty instantly, and all you're going to have to do, just like regular Aircrew Candidacy School, is just sign yourself out in the logbook. Just go ahead and sign yourself out in the logbook, and go out in town, go get your cab, go do whatever you do. Alright? Now, when I did that, when I was just signing myself out in the logbook, just, you know, signing myself out, walking away, that was actually contrary to Navy regulation, Navy-wide. For some reason, that schoolhouse was doing something that really was not supposed to be done at the time, which to me was fine, because I was responsible, okay? I'm not a freaking meathead, bonehead moron. That means the Liberty Buddy process, okay? So when you're Phase 3 Liberty and all that stuff, you can just kind of come and go and do whatever you want at NACCS. And even in Phase 2, you don't need a Liberty Buddy. You can just sign yourself out, leave, go do whatever you want, go out in town. Which I've become very accustomed to after 6 months. Rescue Swimmer School, I'm not going to get too much into because I'm not a professional about that. I really don't know everything in that respect and in that regard. What I can tell you is that both of those barracks, okay, are former OCS barracks before that program got moved up to Virginia. So basically you're staying in old officer barracks, and that's the only reason why they're even nice as they are. And this may come as some surprise, there's not really any air conditioning in those barracks. It's kind of like a cool breeze kind of moves through. It's like an air cooling unit, not an air conditioner. And there's barely any ever hot water because, again, you're showering synchronously with like 400 people that come back from PT all at the same time. So I'm not going to talk too much about Rescue Swimmer School. I will talk about instead just a little bit about what you can expect when it comes to room inspections and when it comes to Liberty, kind of, sort of. Alright, room inspections. Room inspections are going to take place on Fridays in Aircrew Candidacy School, and it's kind of a shit show. It's really funny. You'll have people that are very playful and youthful and juvenescent and adolescent to an extent when it comes to fun. And you'll have people that have, you know, like Nerf guns and airsoft guns and stupid little stuff like that in the barracks rooms, which I don't think airsoft guns are allowed to have anymore. And, you know, room inspectors, the NMTs, the petty officers will come around and be like, "What in the hell is this thing? Don't you point that thing at me! Point it at the ground! Now fire it!" That thing's pretty cool. You can expect a lot of that. You know, these guys, they really are hard asses, and they're bad. You're going to see some really bad mother lovers. People that grew up to look like action figures, okay? Trust me, they're going to meet some bad mamma jammas in Aircrew Candidacy School, and Navy in general. You can meet some shitbags too, but... So yeah, room inspection is going to be on Friday. Once you go through your room inspection, there's going to be a all hands function down on the street right in front of the barracks, and down there on that street where everyone's going to form up, you guys are going to be sweating your freaking cojones off. You're going to be sweating so bad you're not going to know what to do with yourself, and let's just hope that it's not the high heat of summer if you have to go through Aircrew Candidacy School, but it's probably going to be a reality anyways, given that you're going to be there for 6 months in backlog before you even class up. Well, this is making me look unprofessional. Okay, anytime now. Alright. So, point in case is you're going to form up in the street, and they are going to go ahead and basically give you the rundown for the week, let you know what the spiel is, let you know what the goods are, what's happening, what's popping. And again, there we are. Starting to come into focus, sort of. We're going to be out there in a formation, and they're going to come out there, the senior enlisted's going to come out there and talk to you and say, "Hey, listen, oh, this is when the fire alarm went off once inside of the barracks." Again, you're going to meet some characters. Somebody got a fog machine and turned it on in their barracks room. Why do you even have a fog machine in your barracks room? So, you're going to get formed up out in the street after room inspections. They are going to tell you what the deal is. You know, don't go out in town this weekend to Pensacola to the clubs and get that drippy drip. HM1's going to tell you about the drippy drip. Okay? And then after that, they're most likely going to make an example out of somebody. If somebody did something stupid during the week, somebody fell asleep on a watch, somebody stole something from the exchange. Oh, brother. Talk about Schadenfreude. Oh, man. Listen, if there's somebody ever messes up, they're going to make an example of them in front of the formation. And they're going to say, listen, and this literally happened. Somebody stole a video game because they were broke after being a weekend millionaire. As Chief Talabong used to lovingly call us, weekend millionaires. Some kid stole a video game one time, some kid fell asleep on a watch, you know, etc., etc. And they'll make an example of them. They'll come up in front of the crowd and they will tell you exactly what they're going to go through, exactly what's going to happen to them, and why not to do it. And one guy, the guy who stole the video game, he was in handcuffs. Okay, he was in handcuffs. They brought him from the brig to come tell us about how stupid he was, and that how he's going to be in some kind of reduced state in the Navy for the rest of his 4 years, and then once he gets out, he's going to get out with a general under honorable, or like an other than honorable or something, and he has no choice about it. I mean, he is literally a conscripted slave at that point, okay? I mean, phew! Alright. Oh, here's a story for you, and I know I'm digressing here. This really ought to be a best of episode. 2 other junior sailors thought it would be a grand idea to lock each other in their wall lockers, which was the equivalent of a walk-in closet. Again, these used to be officers' barracks for OCS, and you are judged on the inside of your wall locker, your walk-in closet, which is big enough to lay down in. 2 sailors thought it would be a grand idea to lock each other in their wall lockers to escape a day's worth of PT. Yeah, one of them kind of got a little slap on the wrist, the guy that was locked in the locker. The other guy that did the locking, he got written up underneath one of the UCMJ articles for wrongfully and unlawfully imprisoning a sailor underneath the Geneva Conventions, and they threw the book at him. So don't mess around when you're in the United States military. It is not an extension of college. It is not an extension of high school. Nobody's going to save you. There are no pulling punches. And we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so that's, I think, a pretty good idea of what you can expect to get out of Naval Aircrew Candidacy School. I would go on about the rest of the ASA schools in Pensacola, but I think this is kind of running on a little long. I'm sure you guys have had more than enough. If you want to post any questions, comments, concerns, likes or dislikes, do so in the section below. And again, I'm really sorry if the video quality is not the best or the audio has too much reverb. Please lower your bass. This kind of quality will dissipate soon, and we will have better equipment relatively soon. And thank you for your time, guys. Again, this was a little introduction to Aircrew Candidacy School, what you can expect. And hopefully we can digress and go into open debate, conversation, and questions later. The next episode will be not NACCS, but NATTC. Okay? So thank you again, everybody. I hope this has been insightful. Comment as you see fit. And enjoy all of your amenities out there, Western world, America, everybody who has electricity. Hoo-yah!